don't blindly pick between Barbosa and Bonica. Just the difference there is absolutely huge. The right one depends entirely over your way of playing Age of Empire Mobile. So yeah, today we're going to talk about the difference between Barbosa and Bonica. Currently I have Bonica set it up, but yeah, somewhere here should be Barbosa. Yeah, currently I'm using Barbosa. I'm going to explain why I'm using Barbosa and why I'm not using Bonica. Even though that Bonica is actually 1-star, so you know, it's not some huge difference between these two heroes. It's like I invest a lot in Barbosa and Bonica come, and right now I have to use Barbosa because, you know, Bonica is not having any kind of stars. She's having a single star, so I think this should be enough, and this increase your troop damage. This is the first one, is increase the damage rate of swift repulsal counterattack damage by 25%. But yeah, this is not actually the interesting thing. What is the difference between these two heroes? Obviously, from first look, we're going to see that here we have attack and we have counterattack, something that, you know, is separating these two heroes by a lot. I'm making this video just because I get questions about Barbosa, since he's also in the daily bundles, and people are curious, should I actually go with Barbosa, you know? And we're talking for the early seasons. Now, if I have to suggest, my personal opinion is going to be go with Barbosa, because in the season 4, Cyrus, Barbosa and Mansa Musa is crushing the enemy, okay? Is crushing the enemy. Here we have the poor Barbosa in season 1 that is going to provide you with one absolutely great thing, and this is survivability. Now, it's good to have damage, and here is the thing. If you have a lot of damage, most likely you're going to kill faster. That means you're going to have less troops in the hospital or casualties. But if you're in same time more defensive, the fight is going to be longer, and you're going to actually get it strongly depends how defensive is your legion, but yeah, it may actually take the same amount of casualties if you have a very good built defense. So yeah, Barbosa in this case is going to be for defensive builds if you want to have the survivability of your legions, and he is absolutely great complement for Cyrus in the season 4. And yeah, basically making him also with Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa 5-star is crushing clicks. Now, what is the difference between Barbosa, Frederick Barbosa and the Bonica? Obviously, here we have defense and recovery. This bad boy is recovering. Reduce your troop damage taken by some percentage. When your units fell below 50%, reduce damage taken by extra percentage. About armor, everything is based on armor. Now here's the thing with Barbosa. Barbosa is armor hero. You're going to see heroes that is going to be built by strategy. You're going to see heroes that is going to be built by might. Barbosa is for the armor and recovers your units every second for 9 seconds. Now this is absolutely crazy thing, absolutely crazy compliment for Pledge of Victory, because you know, recovering some troops is just very nice. Reducing damage, pure defender, okay, pure defender. If you want to have survivability and put this survivability with two heroes that is doing huge amount of damage, you're going to finally achieve some kind of balance in your legion. And I think this is what Frederick Barbosa is going to offer different from Bonica. Now, this recovery effect trigger 1 every 2 minutes. Obviously 2 minutes is a huge amount of time, but if you're picky your fights, you can put aside this legion and only enter in a fight where you're going to actually get triggered this spell right here, which I think is absolute, I mean, the recovery rate, and yeah, basically everything, the reduction, the recovery rate, crazy. Now I'm not going to speak that much over this these two things that I put on Barbosa. Recovery units effect, units every 9 seconds, some recovery rate, and after the hero recover units, reduce troop damage taken by some percentage. You know, this is I built this bad boy for a tank. You know, I need him on the battlefield to protect my troops. In same time, Cyrus, absolutely crazy route damage. He's going to break the legs. But in season 1, the military heroes or military specialty Pikeman's Warriors is more about counterattack. So from there, we're jumping over. Now you can see the Legion I'm currently using. This is Richard 1, Barbosa, and Leonidas. Now, when I was thinking where I should actually go with Leonidas or Bonica or Frederick Barbosa? You know, when you have these ideas in your head, when you're planning the best Legion existing in Age of Empire Mobile, you're carefully picking the heroes. Obviously, because you know the resources are not unlimited. I'm free-to-play player. I spent a little when Age of Empire Mobile was launched. I hit like VIP level 9 because I was looking to be a swordsman main with Miyamoto, because every game, kingdom building game I play, the heroes in the VIP is the heroes that are meta for very long period of time. They're just meta for so much time, and this is one of the main reasons the game actually put those heroes in the VIP. And yeah, just you know, the things with Miyamoto didn't go well, but this is a topic for other video. Now let's go and check it out. The Bonica. First thing, counterattack, attack. Now you're going to have counterattack with Leonidas. If you pair this lady, Bonica with Leonidas, you're going to see that Leonidas is also having counterattack. Obviously, when hit by normal attack, there is 20% chance to deal might damage to the attacker, blah blah blah. Might bonus up to 1 counterattack per second. So here we're having some kind of limitation, which I don't know how good is this thing, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about the counterattack. Yeah, I want to see more votes over this thing. What do you guys think about the counterattack? Do you think it's a good one? Do you have some good report? Because obviously for me, I built this Legion just for the arena, you know, because if you have to focus over one Legion, but in same time in the arena you're going to need 4, and the arena is having some good rewards there, so you know you cannot pass the arena and yeah, just go away from there. So yeah, I actually level up Leonidas for this purpose, and also for more fast spending the CP points. This is topic for other video, but yeah, Leonidas is going to give you counterattack, and same time Bonica is going to give you counterattack. Here we also have from Richard, that most likely is going to be your leader of the Legion. Now some people are saying, okay, forget about Richard, okay? Forget about Richard. Put Leonidas as a commander. Now let me know in the comments what you think, guys, about is Richard the first have to be the commander, or it should be Leonidas. Obviously both of them are hitting like 3 legions, early enemy legions, blah blah blah. Here we are having just pure damage and some marks. Here we're having the mark, and yeah, each time your troops is hit by normal attack, get 1 stack of mark of land here, and blah blah. Now here is the thing, you don't want to get overkill with this counterattack, and having like 2 legions, basically 3 legions with a counterattack here, you're going to just, for me, it's little overkill. And I think the Barbosa is the hero that is going to bring the, how to say it, the balance in your Legion. You know, the Legion is going to do counterattack, you were looking for good survivability, but in the same time the Pikemans, even though I have a question that should I actually go with Swordsman if I want to be tank? Obviously Swordsman is having the biggest defense in Age of Empire Mobile, so it's a reasonable question to be, if I go with Swordsman, I'm going to make a tanky Legion, right? But in the same time I think the Pikeman was in this direction in the season 1, but also the Swordsman, even though Miyamoto is doing crazy amount of damage, this bad boy 425% might damage and reduce the skill damage from the target. You know, he's having this aggressive defensive style of play. Very good hero, but still there is a lot of good heroes, but we cannot split our resources to all of them, because we're going to end up with many crappy heroes. We're looking to build something strong, and if I have to pick based on what I'm saying so far, I'm definitely going to pick Barbosa. I think the Barbosa is the way I'm doing that, and that's why I actually have this bad boy leveled up. Now, where is Bonica shy? Bonica can win in 1-on-1 or versus Swordsman, perfect for solo fights. Yeah, this is why she is perfect for solo fights, just because of the damage she's doing. You know, if you do one-on-one with some defensive team, obviously it's just going to be a waste of time for this very strong defense team. On the other side, if you have some legion that is having more attack, obviously attack is going to strike, you kill more faster, you get less troops in the hospital. Barbosa dominates in swarming fights, think Chao's KVK moments, and I totally agree with that, especially with this trigger of his spell every 2 minutes. I think he's just going to give the survivability, you know, he's just going to give the survivability. Right now, this Legion is going to also have the raw power, but yeah, still Barbosa, I think, is just holding the lines, you know, you're going to need something to hold the line. The moment nobody's holding the line, your squishy marksman is going to get destroyed by Wubu or some other type of Legion, just because marksman is squishy. I don't say marksmen are attacking from the difference, but you know, the first one that is going to enter in the fight and get targeted, this is even a strategy for the arena, which legion you're going to pick and put, so when the fight starts, this legion have to be tanky enough, and the legion that is more tanky is actually win the fight, because you know, if the enemy tank die, it's pretty easy to clear rest of the legions there. Match them to your role. They are both meta if you use it right. This is one of the things that I hear in some conversation. I'm not quite sure Bonica and Barbosa is a meta hero, to be honest. I think in the season 1 you should just pass the season 1, get all the resources, get in the season 2, get Lubu and be king on the battlefield. This is what I think free-to-play world spender should do. In the season 1 you can go in the legendary event to get the Attila, you know, to boost this Attila, because Lubu with Attila, crazy damage. So yeah, I'm not going to speak more over this topic. I think Bonica is one idea less valuable from Barbosa, and Barbosa is going to be used later in the season 4, pairing with Cyrus and Mansa Musa. So I hope this answered the question. If you have to pick Barbosa or Bonica, which one you should go? And there's not big difference. I mean, there is a difference between Bonica and Leonidas, but at the end of the day, we're looking to get the best value from our spendings. If you go for Barbosa, you're going to have the opportunity with this bad boy to, you know, combine him with Cyrus and Mansa Musa. So yeah, I guess this will for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit one like, subscribe if you're new here, become a member if you want to support my work. I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.